This is Tony Hendrick with Painting Spirit. Today's subject is going to be the right side. The right side of the brain. And I'm going to talk about it in terms of maybe it's not all about the brain or the right side of the brain, but maybe there's something else going on. There's a book out there that I'm sure many of you have probably heard of. It's called Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain by Betty Edwards. And it's a book that's been adopted by many art schools in their first year programs of using techniques of getting yourself into using more of the right side of your brain while creating. And some of the techniques she uses are blind contour drawing, where you're looking at whatever it is you're painting and you keep yourself from looking at the paper, so you're just focused solely on what it is you're looking at and you still draw. And there's other techniques for photos, using photos, turning your photo upside down, and painting from that so that your mind doesn't go into its normal labeling mode. So you might be looking at a portrait of somebody, and instead of the mind going, oh, that's a nose, and the mind says, well, that's a triangle, you know, that's a triangle, and the mouth, the eyes, boop, 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 boop. So it's helpful, these techniques, because it gets us out of that tendency to get so into our left side of the brain. And years ago, I would give presentations and talk a bit about that. Because basically what you do when you get into the right side of the brain is you are looking at things for what they actually are. So instead of seeing a triangle, you start to see shadows and the light that creates the nose. I'm not actually working from a photo right now, so today's painting is going to be a little more on the abstract side, probably a lot more on the abstract side. Let's get something happening here. See where this goes. Anyway, so get you to see the illusion that creates the nose, instead of the labels in the mind that tells you what the nose looks like, which isn't accurate to what you're looking at. And so it's kind of a way to master illusion, creating illusion by actually seeing the illusion. And I would say the illusion that I would like to master is the illusion that we're separate I want to be able to see the real thing, which is we're all one. And that was a cool thing to say back then, 20 years ago, when I first was giving presentations and talking about this kind of thing. It's a cool thing to say, because I was probably saying it with my mind that had already taken control of my life. At least it thought it was in control. But what I found over the years is that there's actually several, couple of other areas of the body than the brain that are pretty much running the show. And that would be your heart. And I know there's science out there showing the heart actually has, muscles or neurons or whatever that are similar to the brain and making decisions. But I'm not going to go into that because my learning comes from experience, personal experience, and maybe I could give you an example of that if you just simply right now bring your fingers lightly touching your heart area and just breathe softly. And just continue to breathe softly and feel. And you'll notice a physiological change in your body and even your mind if you keep with that long enough and just really relax. And center into that feeling. So the kinds of experiences that I've had with the heart, shifting out of a tendency to use my mind a lot, putting my attention on my heart. It's not the only area either. I think the solar plexus has a lot to do with our emotional body. Apparently, again, this is all just stuff I've heard or read, but my interest is more in what I've experienced. So maybe it's not just all about getting on the right side of the brain, but maybe letting go of the polarity of our thought process, right or left, and just getting into that place of knowing, which doesn't necessarily involve the mind. A lot of times it involves playing, feeling good. And I guess maybe that's why I chose the abstraction today. Let's just play around with that, see what happens. So you can see I'm just sort of changing up different ways of handling my paint. Right now, a light touch gives me a different effect over that thick white. Changing up the brush maybe will give me another thing going on. I just dipped my brush into 3 different dark colors, phthalo green, I don't know what the purple is. Used to use platinum violet when I painted in oils. I forget what the violet is called. It's just a dark violet, intense violet. Mixing those 2 colors together, I find gives a nice black that you can alter one way or the other towards your warmer colors. A little more purple. Let's see here. And of course, bringing in some white into these colors kind of reveals the main color that's in it. Got kind of a palette I think that I need to freshen up a little. So I'm just using up all my paint on it right now. Playing with colors, seeing what happens. Just seeing little differences like that. That nice little orangish yellow there with that. And there's just a nice subtle difference between the two and creates some depth in the painting, I think. Anyway, maybe I want to bring more yellow. This is such a yellow painting. Kind of sticking with singular colors or a general feel. See, that kind of went to this green, so I'll bring some of that in, maybe some whites. See what happens there. I'm kind of being gentle here, but I don't have to. I can change things up quite a bit and see what happens. And what happened there is it created this nice greenish yellow just in that underpainting, and maybe bring in something new, see what happens there. That was nice. Nice blue in there. So I was talking about the right side, and I kind of stopped talking. So I think that's me just getting into that part of myself that isn't thinking right or left, right or wrong. Just getting into the enjoyable feeling, sensation of painting. And breathing. It's kind of nice. Let's see here. What do I want with that area? Add a different shape there. Maybe just bring something else different in there. Something a little deeper. little area like that can really make a difference to the whole painting and finish it off. If you can get the colors to set on top. Okay. That's my very short talk about the right side. And see today if you can give yourself, your heart, a little more attention. Take some breaks during the day. Gently place your fingers on your heart and just breathe and see what difference it makes for your day. And get out your brushes and see what you can do with that. And we'll see you tomorrow.